She's good. She's been around for a while. I already gave out all my tip money though. Sometimes there's a lot of different people though, you know. I got my favorites, of course, but I like to spread the wealth around. Those $1 bills. I like to spread around my $8. There's a guy back there who had he draws like cartoons. He does like caricatures of people, and you know, like the tourists will come and sit down, and he'll draw their face like all kind of weird or whatever. And he had Ice Cube up there, and got my Ice Cube shirt on. He made a great statement recently. It was funny. He was yelling about how the vaxies made him lose $9 million because of a movie. They wouldn't take him because he didn't get the vax, and he held strong, you know. And he was just kind of like, "You motherfuckers lost me $9 million," you know. But he wasn't part of the real target audience for that. Target demographic for that situation. You know what I mean? It was we know who it was. Just look at who the dead are, the dying. See what they all have in common. I just did a video about that though, so I'm gonna try to stay out of that. But yeah, it was just funny because whenever I see like an article from him, I always read it in his voice. Yeah, funny shit, man. But yeah, that's like a bit of a synchronicity there. I mean, he's a popular guy, but you know, hasn't been part of the zeitgeist culturally for a while. So I consider that a legit Mario, you know, because I do. Speaking of zeitgeist, he's going out of his mind, huh? He was. I didn't watch that. I didn't watch the interview, but I just heard little bits and pieces about the Alex Jones thing. Now, Alex Jones is controlled up. You know, I think everybody's fucking controlled up. I've gone back and forth on whether or not I think this is all a work, which is kind of ridiculous because I know it's all a work. You know, I really drive that point home all the time. None of it's organic. None of it's organic. If this was organic, right, he would have been stopped a long time ago. And yeah, I know hospitalization thing and all that kind of stuff, the threats from that guy, but it's still part of the story. There's a story unfolding here. And I'm starting to get an idea of what I think may be happening. I think what is going on here, whether he knows it or not, is they're trying to do a couple things. They're trying to show people limits and what can happen to them. And they're trying to get people to put their necks out. You know, just like the Donald Trump thing, what he did is he got people who may espouse those beliefs to come out in support of him. So if they're supporting him, they know, oh, then they must think the same thing, and then add them all to the watch list, you know, or in some cases the no-fly list. But a lot of it's clandestine, you know. They're not doing a massive thing where people are going to know about it. They don't want you to know, of course. But if you came out in support of Trump, you're kind of already been labeled, you know. So I think this is like another level of that. Because there's a lot of people that are non-political or don't participate in the political game, and that includes voting, that have grappled and talked about the JQ, and have grappled with the JQ. Of course, nothing officially, it's all private. You know, you'll see it on like anonymous message boards and stuff, places like Poll, and you know, among certain Discord groups or just certain people, person to person. It's not something you can discuss out in the open anywhere. So they can't, I mean, aside from collecting data on some of these anonymous message boards, the thing with that too is, I mean, you could just be a shit poster, you know? Although it depends how desperate they get with wanting to, you know, find domestic keys wherever they can. But I think this is another thing where they're trying to see who's going to come out in support of him. If there's any people in business or in music, I don't think it's so much the private citizens in the way that Trump was, so they could get an idea of a percentage of people or something like that. I think this is more to see who sticks with him professionally, or who backs him up, and they will and then they'll mark themselves as someone who is a problem person. It could reach into the civilian population as well, people showing support, you know, in which case, you know, a lot of people are already in that bucket. If you ever liked one of his tweets or something, or his Instagram page, which is hilarious, so of course you did, if you have a sense of humor. But there's levels to this stuff. I talked about one time a follower of one of these online conservative personalities. I don't know if I mentioned who it was, so I'm not going to mention who it was, but if I did, oh well. If I did originally, oh well. But he used to be one of his, the guy who was the conservative leaning personality. He was a big supporter of his in sort of like his inner circle. And he left. He renounced the guy and kind of went AWOL and started spilling kind of the secrets about what was kind of going on in the organization as far as him being controlled. And in this case, he absolutely knew he was controlled. He was just another actor playing a part, emphasis on the actor. And the way this guy was describing it is that they have different levels of people, like as far as how much you're watched or how dangerous they think you may be in the future. And it's like a tiered system that is built like, if you subscribe to him in some way, on some whatever, that's one thing. If you sent super chats when there, you know, if there's a, you know, some kind of live stream situation, that's a deeper level or a higher level, you know, however they, whatever direction they're moving in with this thing. And then if you're a Patreon supporter, then you're like real close to things. That's how he had it laid out. I don't think that they're actually looking for domestic teas or people that will fit their narrative of who they need to criminalize, because the demand is totally outweighing the supply. But rather they're trying to find those they can fashion into one of those people who's close enough. You know, that, well, this guy did this, he did that. Okay, he's certainly one of them, because they don't have anybody, you know, and they need to reinforce this narrative of the most dangerous thing in America today. They don't have any of the people to back them up. They haven't, you know, so I don't think they think they're going to find them among the audience of some of these guys, but I think what they're going to do, if depending on how the timetable works, how desperate they become, is to try to see who they could fashion into one of these guys. You know, like, well, he was on his Patreon, he went to this event, you know, like try to, because they gotta fill these domestic tea quotas, you know, because they're telling the country it's the most dangerous threat to democracy, but they're not producing results. Every once in a while, they'll parade one of those things out, like what was Patriot Front. That's just so clearly a glowy op, like even normies could see it. Hey, why are those guys all wearing the same watches and shoes? And a lot of sunglasses look the same too. And then that was just so funny. The first one like that was hilarious was the Charlottesville one, when they had the tiki torches. It's like, almost like what happened was there was like a last minute thing. We're like, well, shit, how are we going to get a bunch of torches? We need torches for dramatic effect. And they just sent like one of the interns out with a credit card, and he went to Home Depot, and it was just like, well, that'll do, I guess, you know. It seemed like that's what happened there. And I know they might have been trying to go for a theme, because they had the Hawaiian shirts too. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? But it seems to me like, well, that's the best we can get. Because like what angry sort of hateful, evil group, you know? Yeah, we got tiki torches, man. It was just so silly. So they want to push this narrative to help to bolster support against that group. We had this whole conversation yesterday, the day before. But they don't have the bodies, you know, to fill the slots they need. So, you know, by keeping track of the fans of these guys, it's just a way to find who the biggest fans are, and then try to fashion them into fitting the description of a domestic tea. They're going to have to make them. You know, the thing I think about sometimes too is it's a federal thing. You know, it's federal money, whether it's Soros or whatever. But there's also state money as well. So each state has a budget for this. So they have to find someone within their state that they can follow, or they can surveil, or they don't get the money, or they get less money. The more people they can find that can fit that the description that they want, the more money they get, which means more money in more pockets, especially in a place like Hawaii where that happens regularly, you know. And in Hawaii, it's a very blue state. There's a lot of progressives here. It's going to be extra hard to find a domestic tea here that is a, you know, white supremacist or whatever. So they'll have to just make one. They'll have to find the closest people that would fit that description to then just, they can use to be one, you know, to ban and zip tie and say, well, this guy, what does he have? I shit posted on 4chan quite a bit, and he did make some videos about, you know, the JQ, and I think he used this word or said this thing once. Well, good enough. We don't got anybody else. It's fucking Hawaii, you know. That's the danger, you know. Is that they're gonna have to, I mean, I'm sure they've already started creating them, but as time goes on, and they keep pushing this idea that it's the most dangerous thing to American democracy, and they don't have anyone to show for it, that's when you got to start worrying. And the thing is, though, like you might think, well, how do you protect yourself? Do I start? It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter. It depends on how desperate they are. Because if you've ever done anything subversive in any kind of way, or in support of something that goes against the narrative, whether you voted for Trump or you like the tweet from Kanye, you're already in the game. You're already there. you know. This is dystopian 1984 nightmare bullshit. So if there's nothing you can do about it now, you just kind of hope that there's a bigger spurg in your neighborhood, I guess. That's all you could do. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.